as you're working to get a win, and you're pretty nicely placed at the moment too.
Yeah, we identified these 2 weeks are probably pretty important for us if we want to give ourselves a chance to compete at the end of the year. So pleasing that we ticked off last Saturday. So now we've just got to reset and go again and see what we can do this Saturday and, really try and entrench ourselves in that final 5.
Speaking of Lockie on Monday, it's just you got to be complacent, I suppose, as well, or not become complacent, I should say, and not underestimate Clarence this week. Yeah,
100%. We've got to stay hungry. It's another challenge for us. We feel like we haven't proved anything yet as a group. We sit at the halfway point and we've only won 3 games. So we've got to keep improving. We've got to keep striving to improve and have that hunger to improve. And playing Clarence over here is always a tough challenge. They've had the wood on us over the last few years. And across the journey, I think that they've really had the wood over the footy club. So, we get another opportunity. We were able to beat them last time down at the Twin Ovals, which was a really good performance. So we've got to come out and back that up and back up last week's performance as well, because that's what good teams do. They don't, take the foot off the gas.
What makes you think you can beat them this time?
I'd like to think, our form coming in, but I wouldn't read too much into Clarence's form over the last 3 games. They've played North Lonnie, who at the moment are smacking everyone for fun. And then they played Glenorchy at KG5 and Lauderdale at Lauderdale. So they're pretty tough tests. They're tests that we've failed as well this year. So, we think it'll be one in the midfield, like down at the Twin Ovals. Brady Jones got a hold of us in the 3rd quarter down there. So, if we can get that first hands on ball and get the ball in our area, which is, that's no secret. That's what every team's trying to do and maintain it in our area. We think we kicked a score against them last time, so we think we can put that score on the board again this time. But it starts in the middle and starts with our defensive actions.
Kieran Lowell's been killing it very clearly. Is he doing enough to get noticed by AFL recruiters?
I hope so. Yeah, his form's been great. And this is another good challenge game for Kieran as well because, Matty Ling did a super job on him last time. I think it was Kieran's lowest possession total for the season against Clarence. But the thing we liked about Kieran was when he got that attention, his possessions were damaging last time against Clarence. So as long as he's been damaging and getting the ball in his hands, I think, his form should put him on the radar. That's up to the recruiters, what they're looking for, what certain teams are looking for come draft time. He's just got to keep putting his performances on the board, which he's doing. He's been really consistent for us, which has been great. And, he'll give himself a chance. He's good enough to be on an AFL list. So, there's a lot of those factors that come into play with what clubs are looking for, but all he can do is keep performing and give himself a chance to get back on a list and play at the highest level.
What do you want to see from the group in the home stretch of the season? What's going to bring you into the discussion with the top 4 sides?
We've got to keep improving. We've got to be consistent. I don't think we've really put a true 4-quarter performance in. We have good quarters, we have good moments. We show a lot of glimpses of potential, which is good. But, we've got to become consistent, and it's just consistent in the little things like 2-way work rate, getting our bodies stronger and, being a real good contested team. You need to do that against finals, and you need to do that against, especially those top 3 teams. All of them have hardened, experienced bodies through the middle of the ground. So we've just got to stick together, keep sticking to the plan, and keep working hard. And you don't know what you can do, but it's about finding that consistency. And there's going to be ebbs and flows, but it's trying to work out when it ebbs how you can arrest it and get it back into a flow. I guess is that's the challenge for us, and I think it's a challenge for everyone.
Would it be enough to get in if you win this week? Do you think, or it's still anyone's ball game? I guess.
There's a long way to go. I suppose, I said we've played 9 games, so it's the halfway point. We've got all teams have got a lot of work to do. So, I definitely don't think it's definitely not that. So, and especially you don't ever want to put the cue in the rack or take the foot off the gas sort of scenario. So, it's a lot of footy to be played, and anything can happen. Injuries, form. Like I said, right in that roller coaster, you just don't know what's around the corner. So, we just got to worry about what's in front of us, which at the moment is Clarence this weekend. So that's the next challenge. See what we do then. If we can tick it off, great. If we can't, then we move on and we just go for the next one.
What would it mean though? Like it must be an exciting place to be at the moment. Potentially qualifying for your first final. No, it's a long way to go and that, but it must be a good mood and stuff like that around the club.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, this week's it's been really positive. We keep it positive internal every week. Like, you know, I've said up here before, like, you know, we don't shy away from it because we're 6 years into the comp. And all we've done though now is just we've given ourselves a chance to compete, to get in finals. So then it's up to us now what we do. So we've got an opportunity, which is great. So, but we're under no illusions about how hard this competition and how even it is. You know, anyone can beat anyone on any given day. So you got to keep preparing. You got to keep sticking to what you do, and you know, keeping the group tight. Like, it's a really tight group, which is pleasing. So, and they're those little things that win you games of footy.
Say September does call, mate. How important would it be to knock off one of the top three sides in the regular season?
Yeah, it'd be a feather in cap for anyone to beat those teams. Those teams are flying, and they're the top three for a reason. So, you know, everyone would love to knock one of them off. So, like I said, we prepare every week to win, no matter who we're playing. So, you know, we give the players the information. We work hard during the week, and it's about executing it on game day. So, you know, we'll get that challenge. I think after this week against Clarence, we've got it's Glenorchy, Lonnie, North Lonnie. So, you know, there's a chance with that. You know, and we'll reassess that and start to look at that as I see what happens this weekend.
You've said a lot of water under the bridge and anyone can beat anyone, it's a long way to go. Realistically, is this the game that could decide whether or not you play finals?
No, I don't think so. No, I suppose what are we? We're 2 games ahead of Clarence. If we lose this week, we're still 1 game ahead. So, you know, we play each other again. So, I think I even said last week, every week's a must-win week in this competition. So, you want to get the respect of the opposition and the general public by winning games and putting out a good product. And if that happens, you know, everything takes care of itself.
Do you think Clarence are better than a one-win team that they are at the moment, I guess, and they've got the ability to beat some of these bigger boys in the back half of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, I wouldn't read too much in their last 3 weeks. So, you know, they've been down a few players as well. You know, Jake Cox hasn't been there. Ryan Bailey, you know, one of the better ruckmen in the comp as well, has missed a few games here and there. You know, bit of flux with their Devils in and out. You know, Ethan Jackson's there 1 week, he's not there the next. So they play a good brand of footy. You know, they make the ground big, they move it really well. They honour their hit-up forwards. They move it quickly as well. And as long as you've got, you know, Jez and Brady running through the midfield, you've got challenges, you've got headaches. So I wouldn't read, like I said, I wouldn't read too much in the results. They're a good team. They're well structured. They've got good systems. So they're a tough challenge, and they're an even better team here at Blunston when they get on their home deck too.
Player movements this week?
Player movements. Luke Graham is back from suspension, which is really good. So Luke's obviously was Team of the Year last year. He's one of our key forwards, which is good. We'll give Mickey Paul a chance to get over the line. He's had a hamstring. He's been a late withdrawal last week with a hamstring issue. If he's not 100%, we're not going to risk him. So he's probably at about 80, but we'll give him a chance to get up. He'll go through some sort of fitness test tonight, work with our S&C guys. We'll probably just name him as an emergency. And if he gets up, he does great. If he doesn't, we'll roll with that. So Lockie Godomski stays with us because I think the Devils are only allowed to play 2 19-year-olds. So Lockie's missed out of the game there, and Bailey Gordon stays with us as well. So we're pretty settled. But Luke comes straight in. You know, you don't play Luke Graham at 11:30. You get him straight into your team.
The realistic goal for this weekend, mate, a consistent 4-quarter competitive effort, and not get blown out of the water. Realistic.
Yeah, just back on to last week. Obviously, it was reported after the game that it was our grand final, and Lockie Griggs said it was our grand final. It wasn't our grand final. We're in a stage of our development where we need to, you know, focusing on behaviours and patterns of how we play football consistently that'll eventually lead us to winning finals down the track. So obviously Trent and I worked together and had a huge amount of respect with each other, but obviously some of the comments after the game last week, we as a club will remember them, and I think it's great that it adds a bit of excitement for the game in 6 weeks' time at the Twin Ovals.
What were some of the comments that pissed you off the most?
Well, probably more annoyed the players, the fact that the Tigers boys were saying it was our grand final. As I said, we're here for the long haul. We understand we're at as a playing group. We know they've got a lot of work to do, but we use that as motivation. But we'll keep teaching them the behaviours that will eventually lead to us being competitive from a week-to-week basis. So,
Do you feel like the rest of the competition, mate, is looking at you guys as a different entity to the rest of them, so to speak?
I can't answer that. You'd have to ask the other coaches. But I think over the history of the State League, if obviously there's more media coverage now than ever, there's stages where Lauderdale were down the bottom of the ladder, North Lonnie early State League were as well. So obviously we're more scrutinised now. So, it's up to the other coaches what they think about us as a club, but we know we're driving the standards and we're setting behaviours that'll eventually make us a competitive unit.
Yeah, Fire potentially be handy this week coming up against a very, very strong team.
Yeah, I mean, they've been the best team in the competition for the last 5 years, so since we played them up there, they've been in reasonable form. They've won every game by nearly 100 points, so we have to take the positives out of that. A month ago that we were able to be really competitive with them and nearly got the win, so we just have to play some really good one-on-one footy, and you get some of our young guys playing against some of the best players in the competition, so that's a challenge, but it's something that they can take learnings from as well.
What do you do with Cox Goodyear? Some of those highlights last week were frightening. Do you just go that you're just going to do it anyway?
No, absolutely not. Sam Daly did a fantastic job on Brad head-to-head a month ago, so that's the obvious one. But, as we discussed last week, it's about us, not me, so we've got to make sure there's a team defence and stop letting Brad have a run at the footy at stoppages. But Daly will do a really good job there. He's a very strong man, and Sam's been in outstanding form all year, so we've just got to try and, when he goes forward, I don't think it matters who plays on him. If you don't put enough pressure on the supply, then Brad can get off the chain.
How much is the weight of not having a win yet weighing on the boys' shoulders?
Yeah.
Do you worry about that? Is it talked about, or do you just take it week by week?
Oh, no. I feel like I was shattered last week for the playing group because they worked that hard. They put that much time and effort into it, but you're not given anything in this game. So we just have to, as I said, we're trying to teach them the behaviours that'll eventually lead us to winning games of footy, at the pointy end of the year. And they know that they've got a lot of work to do. So, but the beauty is, we had 10 or 11 teenagers still last week. So they understand where they're at in a body shape, in a footy sense. So they know that, and they're prepared to keep doing the work. So we just need, as a coaching group, to keep driving that.
So you think you still will get one?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone off?
No. As Trent just touched on then, you prepare every week to win. So I just think the nature of the comp at the moment, it's pretty even. So if your personnel's down or if your game's off slightly, you can get beat. So, every coach prepares to win every week, and we do the same thing this week.
I said to you the other week, you won one last year, but is it almost still a step forward if you don't somehow win one because you think you've progressed in other areas?
I think that's a hypothetical question, that we won't win one. There's still 8 games to go. So, we are improving from week to week. I think the results will tell you that, because obviously last year we were very uncompetitive at times.
That's what I was trying to say. So
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but we'll be winning games of football before the year's out.
What will change for that to happen, do you think?
Well, I don't think much has to change too much, mate. We're getting close. We're letting ourselves down with some fundamental errors that are, on the weekend, the Tigers kicked 5 goals in the first quarter after we had the first 7 or 8 inside 50s in the first 7 or 8 minutes. So it's just a concentration thing, a couple of efforts that needed to be a bit better. So we need to keep identifying those things that are letting us down, keep showing the guys that this is not acceptable, and we'll stamp that out by the end of the year, and hopefully that leads to us getting a win sooner rather than later.
Changes?
Yeah, there's a few, because obviously we lose the Devils. We've got 9 in the Devils team this week. So there's a few that come out of the team last week. So there's a few opportunities for guys that played in the Development League last week. Cole won't play because of his hamstring. So with having a week off after that, we should get him back for Clarence after the bye.
How much are you looking forward to this game?
Yeah, it's, the boys are up and about through the week. Obviously, they got over the top of us out at KG5 and played some good footy. So, we certainly want to rebound to level the score this time around.
You had a bit of a stinker that day, you lost by 11 points. Does that sort of stick in your craw a bit?
Yeah, they looked a little bit lethargic and, to be honest, they looked a little bit soft in their approach to the game. And I think they thought they were just going to go out there and win, which is a little bit unrealistic going out to the KG5 playing Glenorchy and thinking you're just going to roll through and have a win. So I think they got a bit of a reality check right there. They certainly did off me anyway, and I think from that point on they've probably changed the way they've played a little bit.
What would be different this week? You've probably just indicated what, but if you could...
Look, I thought, as I said, I thought we just went through the motions, and that certainly won't happen. It doesn't mean we're going to win the game this week, but it certainly won't happen again like it did last time, and we'll be a lot more aggressive. There were some things happening in the game that we weren't particularly happy about, so we'll certainly take measures to ensure that we protect each other through the game, and it'll be a lot more aggressive, I'd imagine.
Your conversion that day was left a lot to be desired. Do you think your forward line or your forward process has improved since that day?
I think everything's improved. I think what the guys found out that day, that they won't get games unless they perform, and I think as a collective group, the group's probably come together a little bit better after that. Probably valued their spot in the team a little bit better. So collectively over the whole thing, the only thing that worked on that day was our back line was fairly strong. Our mids got beat. Our forwards were poor, and I think that's changed a bit now.
Dodge playing this week?
Next week. Dodgy will be back next week. He'll play seniors next week.
Do you get Bryce back?
Keeping an eye on Bryce. He's on his way back. It's a long flight, so we'll make a decision probably Friday night to see how he's travelling.
When's he due?
He gets back into Sydney on Friday night, I think. So probably not. He probably would be lethargic and jet lagged and all that sort of stuff. So at this stage, we probably won't. We'll name him, but we probably won't play him.
How much of an advantage is it playing the Pies at your place rather than theirs, I guess?
I think KG5 is one of the home ground advantage grounds. I don't think Bellerive is, because it's a good ground for football. Maybe the Tigers isn't, North Hobart, but I think KG5 and Lauderdale is. So, I think we've got a good home ground advantage down there. People don't like going to the tip, that's for sure. And I think if you've seen the visitors' change rooms, people don't like to be in there, certainly too early. We normally give it a bit of a hose down before they get there and make it nice and cold and that sort of stuff. But I think we're probably one of the teams that have got a home ground advantage, just because we're a fair way off the pace with facilities and that sort of stuff. So I think it might be a couple of goal advantage down there.
How do you see yourselves at the moment? Obviously pretty nicely placed halfway through the season compared to the last couple of years when you made a grand final. Do you feel like you're in a better position?
I think so. I think we're a lot stronger right across the board. And we've got guys playing in the reserves that are playing good footy that can't get in. And I think that's a pretty good indication of how our team's tracking. So, and the guys that are playing seniors aren't playing fantastic football, but they're all just doing enough to, play good football as a collective group. And I don't think we've had that in the past. We've never had the pressure from below on the senior team, and I think that's probably making them play a little bit better as a group.
Changes for this week? What are you doing?
We'll have Aussie Shaw go back into the Mariners, and maybe Bryce back in, maybe another defender to cover off on Oscar Shaw. But they're probably one in, one out, I'd imagine. Probably Perkins come up from the twos. He went back with the Mariners coming in last week, so he played a pretty good game going back, so I'd imagine he'll come back in.
Are you better than a one win team at the moment?
Oh, well, results would say no, but we think obviously internally we are. Things haven't quite gone to plan for us. We haven't really had, a set 22 for the whole year. We've either missed a couple of our experienced players through injury, or we've had some Devils players out. So this week's no different. We lose Jackson and Sam Lewis-Johnson to the Devils, which is fantastic for them. We've also got 9 guys through the under 16 and under 15 team going away with the state this weekend. So that's something for our club to celebrate. To have 9 guys in 2 state teams, under 15s and under 16s, it's really good for the club, and it shows that we've got a really good young group coming through that we're keen to invest in. So they're positive things, but it's probably taken a bit of a toll, and something this weekend will take a toll as well.
How hard will it be to make finals if you lose this?
Oh, it's obviously going to be tough. I think if we lose this week, we go 3 games behind the Tigers, which would mean we'd have to knock off one of the big 3, and we probably need a North Hobart or someone like that to upset the Tigers. So it is a pretty important game for us to make finals. Is it the be-all end-all of our season? No, I've said that in the last few weeks. But if we want to make finals, we've got to win this week. It's pretty simple.
Could a win potentially rattle the Tigers and set them up for some poor results?
Probably not. There's still a game ahead of us if we win. So, and they're capable on their day, the Tigers, of beating anyone. I know the results haven't shown that this year, but especially down at the Twin Ovals, I think they play a really good brand of footy and they play well down at home. So there's no reason why they, if we won this week, that they couldn't, go and beat one of the top 3 down there, and they've got that 2-game buffer anyway. So, look, they're right in the box seat at the moment. For us to put any form of pressure on them, we need to win this week.
Knocked you off last time. Does that give the boys, or did that fire the boys? Did they lock it in and think, we owe them one and this is their chance?
I wouldn't say so much we owe them one. We were really disappointed with the way we played down at the Twin Ovals in the first round. They smashed us around the ball in the first quarter and a half, and I think they were about 7 or 8 goals up. We sort of fought back to get it within 16 points. But when you're fighting back from such a deficit, it only takes a couple of cheap goals or a couple of easy goals or a lapse in concentration, and they can shoot back out to, they kick 2 goals, it's back out to mid-20. So, we need to make sure we start well this week. That's something we've struggled with thus far this season. There's been plenty of games where we've got to quarter time, we're 5 or 6, 7 goals down. So we need to make sure that the first quarter we get some good pressure around the ball and we lock the ball in our end. So, I wouldn't say it was, we need to pay them back for the first round. They just outplayed us. It's up to us to make sure we respond this week from the first round loss against them.
Pay back.
Well, you can look at it like that, but I don't know if you call payback.
Cox back.
Nah, Cox has still got his knee, so he won't play this week. He hasn't been able to train. He gets his MRI results actually this afternoon, so we should know more tomorrow. So he won't play this weekend. I wouldn't imagine he'll play the following week either. He's been limited in terms of his training. He hasn't been able to train for 3 weeks, so he's at least 2 to 3 weeks away.
Anybody else becoming
But we get Brady Jones back. So we'll lose Ethan and Sam, but we get Brady back in. We'll have to lift someone up from the development. And I think Wade Wall's going to play some game time this week. He was meant to play some footy last week, but he had work commitments. So whether we have a look at bringing him straight back in, we're unsure. He's missed 3 weeks of footy, so he'll probably have to come back through the development. But we'll just wait and see and pick the team tonight. Yeah. Cheers. Awesome.
How was the break, mate?
Really good. Yep, it's excellent.
Did it give the chance to freshen up a few bodies, I guess, that may have had a few niggles and things like that, to have an extended period of?
Yeah, it did, and also mines. And, we shut the place down for a week and a half. Just basically used that chance to, it's a mid-season break, effectively, so it was good. Training the last couple of sessions has been really good, but it needs to be, I think, coming off a break like that. So, yeah, looking forward to this week.
Indy spoke about the home ground advantage at the tip and even threatened to hose down the change room before you guys get there to make things really cold.
Just the same as usual then?
Just the same as usual. Is it a ground teams dread playing on in a way?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask the players. It reminds me of Williamstown in the VFL. It's a unique ground. It's pretty open to the elements. It's reasonably tight. It's different, and they enjoy a really good home ground advantage. And in our matchups for a lot of years, it's basically we'd win at home and they'd win at home. And but we're really looking forward to this. It's just a huge challenge to go down there and win. You make a real statement about who you are as a team if you go there and win, and that's what we're looking to do.
But any changes, I guess, mate?
I can't remember the team from, from 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago,
potentially, I guess.
but look, we may get Tyler Bowden back. He'd be the only one.
From what?
Just a back, a tight back. Yeah.
Many, I guess, still considering Lauderdale to be, right up there or the benchmark of the competition with North Lonnie. What would a scout mean against those guys?
Oh, I mean, it's great playing against those guys. I think North Lonnie is still the benchmark. There's no doubt about that. But Lauderdale, 2 years in a row now, they've been second in line. And this year they're making a really strong case. They've got a heap of talent. They've been together a long time, their core group. Their system is good. It's well entrenched. It's been well drilled into them. It suits that ground really well. So, as I said, I mean, we were really happy to beat them earlier in the year because it's always a good test. And, we're just... The boys are very primed for the challenge and up for it.
What was your message to the boys at the halfway mark of the season, mate?
What do we say? I mean, we sort of said, look, given the run we'd had, it was a good effort. The development league to be 8-1 and the seniors to be 7-2 was a good effort. But what it meant was, you could enjoy a little bit of a break, but then we had to be switched on because all it had done is set up a run in the second half of the year. So it's like another season starts now, really. We've put ourselves in a good spot, but there's a few big tests in a row coming up.
Are you able to name a few names about some of the players who needed that break, physically needed that break?
Have you got our team list?
You're the coach.
Oh, look, I mean, obviously, the blokes have been around a while. So Jay was one who, it's no secret we'd been managing him this year in terms of his body. So the rest was fantastic for him. Some of our guys played in that state game, so they didn't get as much of a break. But even then, guys like James Webb, Kel Daly, Aidan Grace, Harrison Gunther, Ben Camrick, they've carried a big load for the group. Cam Duffy's another one. When you're missing a lot of key players and experienced players, you ask a lot of the blokes who are remaining, and they've done, for the most part, really good job of that. But I think any state league player, particularly tradies, which most of our guys are, a break like that's invaluable in the season because, it's a tough life, state league player. And you hear people go, this guy could have played VFL or this guy could have played TSL. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? He didn't. He didn't rock up from the start of November, train hard 3 nights a week for 10 years and put in the sort of career that guys like Josh Arnold and Jay Bowden and Reece Mott and Braden Webb and these guys have done. And you look across to Lauderdale, they've got a bunch of guys who've been there year after year after year, rolling in, doing the hard work. And so I have a lot of respect for all the guys who play in the competition over a long period of time. Like, I was lucky enough, I bumped into Tim Castle at Winterfeast and we had a good chat, and huge amount of respect for a guy like him who can play 10 years of state league footy and just stick at it. It's not easy. You're on the tools, you're up at 5:30, middle of winter, it's cold, you work long days, you rock into training, you got to train at a high level, and then you play at a high physical level on the weekend and you're sore. It's not easy. It's not a glamorous life as a state league player, and so for anyone, getting a break like that in the middle of the season is really good. As I said, as much mentally, where you can have a few nights where you just go and relax, and it was great. We come back to training, a few of the guys are like, God, I miss training. I was getting bored by the end of having a week and a half off, and that's really good. That's what you want, and you get that. We've had real zip in training the last few nights since then.